When Jesus saw the multitude, he was moved with compassion on them. Matthew 14 verse 14. Think about it. How could someone possibly feed thousands of hungry people? Jesus traveled throughout Galilee, teaching and healing. People from far and wide came to hear him speak. One day, a large crowd gathered around Jesus. They were tired and hungry after following him all day. A significant event occurs after Jesus proclaims his authority and teaches about seeking his kingdom first. A story of immense hunger and the disciples' concern. A vast crowd, drawn by Jesus' teachings and miracles, gathered around him, their stomachs rumbling with empty pangs. They had been listening intently for days, traveling from distant lands to hear his words and witness his power. The disciples, witnessing this multitude's desperate state, brought to light a practical concern. Where would they find enough food to satisfy so many? The sheer number of people presented a daunting logistical challenge. Even in the midst of bountiful harvest season, their worries reflected a limited perspective, focused on immediate needs rather than trusting in Jesus' divine provision. This story highlights the tension between earthly limitations and God's limitless power. It demonstrates how faith can be tested when faced with seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Jesus responds to the disciples' anxieties, not by dismissing their concerns but by addressing them head-on. He utilizes what little they have as a starting point, showing that even the smallest amount can be multiplied into something extraordinary through his grace and power. The event culminates in a miraculous feeding, where a few loaves and fish become enough to nourish thousands. This miracle wasn't just about satisfying hunger. It was a powerful demonstration of Jesus' compassion, authority, and ability to provide beyond human comprehension. A thoughtful question arises amidst the crowd's hunger and the disciples' concern. Jesus, sensing their apprehension and seeking to understand their perspective, turns to Philip. "Philip," he asks, "where shall we buy bread enough to feed this multitude?" This seemingly straightforward question carries a deeper weight. It reveals a gap between human perception and divine provision. While the disciples are consumed by logistical challenges, the sheer number of people, the scarcity of resources, Jesus focuses on Philip's understanding of their situation. He wants Philip to articulate his perspective, to grapple with the limitations they see and consider how those limitations might be overcome. A ripple of hope spreads through the crowd as one of Jesus' disciples, Andrew, steps forward with an unlikely offering. He speaks of a young boy who possesses a meager supply, 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. It seems an insignificant amount to feed such a vast multitude. Yet Andrew's words carry a note of faith, a belief that even the smallest gesture can be transformed by divine power. This act of humility on the part of the young boy stands in stark contrast to the disciples' earlier anxieties. They had focused on the limitations, while this child, perhaps unaware of the magnitude of the situation, simply offers what he has. A hush falls over the multitude as Jesus quietly steps forward, a small act that carries immense weight. He takes the simple offerings of the boy, the loaves and fish, and raises them high. In this moment, something extraordinary occurs. His words, filled with gratitude and reverence, break the silence. He acknowledges the gift, not merely for its physical sustenance, but as a testament to the abundance found in faith and humility. He then takes these humble provisions and blesses them, transforming them from ordinary food into a symbol of divine grace. This act isn't just about providing nourishment for the hungry. It's about demonstrating his power to elevate the mundane, to turn the insignificant into something miraculous. In doing so, he reveals his authority, not through force or dominance, but through compassion and blessing. A profound sense of peace settles over the room as Jesus takes a moment to speak, his words carrying the weight of centuries. He breaks bread, a simple act that becomes a symbol of unity and sharing. With each piece distributed, he underscores the importance of community and mutual support. His disciples, moved by this gesture, follow his lead, spreading the bread throughout the gathering. It's not just about physical sustenance. It's about nourishing souls, reminding everyone present of their interconnectedness. Each bite becomes a tangible expression of love and compassion, breaking down barriers and forging bonds between those gathered. In that simple act, Jesus reveals something profound. True nourishment comes not only from what we consume but also from the connections we make and the love we share. The crowd hungers, their bodies weary from following Jesus throughout the day. They're lost in thought, unsure of where to turn next. A ripple of anxiety spreads through the gathering as they realize there's barely enough food to sustain them all. A young boy steps forward, offering a simple meal, 5 loaves and 2 fish. These meager provisions seem pitifully inadequate for the vast multitude before him. Yet, Jesus accepts this humble gift with gratitude. He lifts his eyes heavenward, uttering a silent prayer of thanks. Then, in a gesture that defies logic, he begins to distribute the bread, piece by piece. Miraculously, the loaves multiply, growing larger and more plentiful until there is enough for everyone. The fish, too, increase, providing sustenance beyond what could ever have been imagined. Joy replaces despair as people savor the unexpected feast. The air vibrates with a sense of awe and disbelief,